Hey guys, it's Alora, and today I'm here to talk about another controversial topic, which is always a little bit fun, and that is the most disappointing books that I've read. So obviously if you love these books, that's fantastic, I'm happy for you. We all have differing opinions, and that's based on our own belief systems and our own particular backgrounds and our own experiences and opinions, and that's fantastic. So you can have your beliefs and I'm entitled to mine, and today I'm going to be discussing the books that disappointed me. So let's just get on into it. The first book that I want to talk about today is actually probably the most disappointing book I've ever read, and that's because I have so much faith in this author and I love him so much, and he wrote my favorite book of all time, which was A Monster Calls. So I am talking about Patrick Ness, and the book that disappointed me the most was The Rest of Us Just Live Here. This came out when I was living in California, and I really needed something new and fun, and I had pre-ordered it and I was all amped up and I was excited because when you're in California, Amazon Prime actually ships to you. You know, you actually receive the book on the day that it's released, which is super exciting. The alternative being in Alaska when you get everything a week late, which is frustrating, but that's a side tangent. So The Rest of Us Just Live Here. This sounds like a really cool story. It has a fantastic premise. It's basically talking about how there are all of the chosen ones and the cool hipster people who get to go on the great adventures, but then there are also just the normal people living in the town with these cool people. So at the start of every chapter, this was kind of a neat thing that they did, or that Patrick Ness did. There would be this one little paragraph discussing what was going on in the chosen ones' life and adventure, and then the rest of the book was basically just following this group of teenagers who were living out their normal lives with their normal family troubles and their normal school struggles and just normal everyday stuff. And it sounds pretty cool. It sounds like a fun premise, but I don't think it was executed very well. It really disappointed me. I think I gave this book a 2 stars, which is out of the question for me because I really like to give authors high ratings because I feel like they've put in a tremendous amount of time and effort into creating these beautiful works of art that we get to read and enjoy, and that we should celebrate them and support them instead of tearing them down by giving them low ratings on Goodreads. But this one just, man, this one disappointed me like crazy. Okay, moving on. The next book that I want to talk about is We Should Hang Out Sometime by Josh Sundquist. Now, this is a pretty funny premise for a book. It's sort of like a memoir of Josh's life, being a 25-year-old who had never dated before. Never worked out for him, right? And honestly, I think that the title is hilarious, and I think it's a fantastic way to try to hang out with somebody, is just be like, hey, so yeah, we should hang out sometime. It's a good tip, but this book just really fell flat for me. Anyway, not much more to say about that. The next one is kind of a biggie because it's written by an author that lots of people love and support, and I really enjoyed his first book, but just didn't like the way he wrote this one, and that is History Is All You Left Me by Adam Silvera. I know, it's kind of a big deal for me to say that I didn't like this book because it has been so overhyped. I had an ARC of this book for, I don't know, at least a good 6 months before it came out, and I didn't read it until after it came out. Go figure. But I really wanted to like it. I really, really wanted to like it because the topic is so relatable to me and so near to my heart that I thought I would fall in love with it, and I thought that I would be heartbroken and that I would feel emotionally connected to it, but I didn't. And basically the story is about this young man named Griffin, and he was in love with this boy named Theo who had gone off to college, and they had broken up. And Theo had gotten a new boyfriend and they weren't together anymore, but Griffin still really loved Theo and thought that they were quote-unquote endgame, that they would basically end up together in the end, right? And then Theo dies. And this story is about Griffin dealing with the grief of losing somebody that he really cared about, but that he had already grown distant from. And it was told in alternating timelines, and I just had so much emotional connection to the story, and I didn't feel the stab of pain that I thought I would. And I don't know if it's because I intentionally distanced myself from the story when I was reading it, or if I just didn't relate to exactly the feelings that Adam was bringing up surrounding this topic. But overall, this was a really disappointing read for me. Next up, we have a book by John Corey Whaley, and that is Highly Illogical Behavior. This is another one where I had the ARC really far in advance and didn't read it until after it came out, but this book is about mental illness. It's about this young man who has panic attacks, and so he basically has been living in his parents' house for the last several years, hasn't left at all in 3 or 4 years. And it's about this girl who wants to be a psychologist, a clinician, and she wants to get into a bachelor's program for psychology at this prestigious university. So she decides to take on this boy as her case, and she's going to fix him, and she's planning on using that as her college entrance essay about the time that she spent a summer with someone who was mentally ill and she fixed them. I just find this problematic. I think that it's fantastic that topics are being discussed like this, but I don't think it was done that well. John Corey Whaley wrote Where Things Come Back. He's written other books too, but that one was fan-friggin-tastic. I loved it. This one I didn't appreciate the way that mental health was handled, if that makes sense. But I still give props to John Corey Whaley for writing about it. The next book that I want to talk about is a few years old, so it's not quite as contemporary and up-to-date, and that is Say What You Will by Camille McGovern. I read this and actually liked it at first, but then the more that I thought about it and ruminated on it, the more I realized that I didn't like it and that I was disappointed by the way that things were portrayed. This was a book about disability. Basically, we're just talking about all the grief, mental health, disability books. Maybe I just am overly sensitive to the way that those topics need to be handled. Again, appreciate that these topics are being discussed, that there's inclusion in our literature, but I just felt uncomfortable with the way that it was written about. I don't know really what else to say about this. I know I filmed a review right after having read it, and it was kind of gushing, which is silly. I hadn't thought about it quite enough yet, and I was tempted to take it down, but then I just decided that I'll leave up any video that I post because I've posted it, so it's there. Ooh, this last one is a good one, has nothing to do with mental health. It's a lot more fun and light, and that is Armada by Ernest Cline. Sorry about the glare there. I adored Ready Player One. It was hilarious. There were so many 80s references that I'm sure I missed, but there were plenty that I got, and the main character was really funny, and it was about this dystopian future and playing real-life video games and like virtual reality video games, which I love that idea. I just think that's such a cool idea, and I would love to play one, by the way. That would be cool. But it harkened back to the days when I used to read Heir Apparent, which was my introduction to virtual reality video gaming books, which was a really fantastic book. But Ready Player One was so funny, and I can't wait for the movie, and I'm so excited. And I was really thrilled when Armada was announced, and I got an ARC of it, which was super exciting, and I read it and just was bored. I don't know, it was similar to Ready Player One, but not as good. It was sort of like he took all of the scraps left over from his original brainstorming session for Ready Player One and then just dumped them into this book. It also had a military aspect, like an alien invasion, Ender's Game feel, but Ender's Game was the best version of Ender's Game, and this was sort of trying to copy it or something, and it just didn't work for me. Anyway, I would absolutely recommend reading Ready Player One, but maybe skip Armada. Alright guys, those are the books that have disappointed me the most. I know this is kind of a negative video, but let's just kind of take it in good fun. I really appreciate diversity in books, and I think it's fantastic that people have differing opinions, and it's great to have discussions about these things, and sometimes it's kind of fun to talk about things that you didn't like quite so much, because on BookTube, people talk a lot about what's being hyped and what they do love and what's fantastic out there, but sometimes it's good to just see people's opinions on things when they were dissatisfied, because not every book is geared for every reader, and so it's good to just, you know, see that sometimes. I hope that you're having a wonderful day wherever you are. I'm looking forward to seeing you very soon, and until next time, stay happy, stay healthy. Bye guys.